Welcome back, it's your plug again, Kida TV. Many have been said about Pastor Paul Mackenzie, but today I'll bring to you the full history about Paul Mackenzie Ntenge. So this was just Paul Mackenzie Ntenge when his church, which was known as Good News International in Malindi, flourished few years back. He wasn't the same shaggy, confused person gracing the screens today. He started this church back in the year 2003 as a small evangelical center alongside his wife Joyce Wikamba. They then moved to a village called Migingo in Malindi, where he set up a church in a walled compound, where his family still lives to date. His wife Joyce helped in preaching as a co-pastor, and Mackenzie claimed to have the power to speak to God directly. In his sermons, he claimed to deliver words as given by God himself. Around 2016, Mackenzie acquired a television station after one of his followers, Kennedy Mwacharo, sold his property in Lamu at a throwaway price of 20 million and handed over all the money to him, abandoning his family and responsibilities. The property was valued over 100 million back then. The man will die 2 months later, unclear circumstance. Several causes of people selling their properties and giving Mackenzie as they away to meet Jesus will then follow. The recent one being Betty, a air hostess who quit her 11-year-old job, left her husband and sold her lifelong investments at a throwaway price of 7 million, heading with the money to Mackenzie's Shakahola church. Betty is suspected to be among the dead bodies being retrieved in the graves in Shakahola. It is claimed that Mackenzie used the money that Kennedy Mwacharo gave him to buy pieces of land in Malindi and Mombasa, 2 vehicles, and started the television station. Through his TV station, Mackenzie reached so many people, and his teachings were basically on the end times, evilness of Western ways of life like medical services, education, food, sports, music, and etc. Mackenzie dwelt on the uselessness of life and stressed on the afterlife. He preached about the second coming of Christ, which according to him was so soon. His timeline of the second coming was always less than a year. He also focused on the wrath that awaited those who would be alive by then. In 2018, Dr. Ezekiel Mutua, through KFCB, ordered to the immediate closure of the TV station. This was a year after Mackenzie and his wife had been arraigned in court for religious radicalization, knowing and unlawfully promoting extreme belief system to the purpose of facilitating ideologies to advance religious and social change. It is unclear how this change ended, and despite the others to shut down the TV station, Mackenzie continued with it, something that showed how connected he might have been. Remember, at a point, he threatened the Kilifi women representative Aisha Jumwa when she questioned some of his teachings and why he kept sick people in his compound instead of taking them to the hospital. Back in 2019, Mackenzie would again hit headlines when 4 siblings from Mumias left home for his church and went missing. 3 of them will later resurface. This, plus the pressure put on him to close and registered school he opened in his compound, prompted him to move from Migingo to Shakahola. He closed the church, sold some of his vehicles, then bought the Shakahola land in the name of starting a farming venture. People who went to see him at where his previous church used to be in Migingo were referred to his Shakahola farm, and according to neighbors, a lot of people went there but few left. Mackenzie had fasting supervisors who will monitor the poor souls in the bush as they starved to death. These are also the same people who work as undertakers for him. It is claimed that while leaving Migingo and closing his church, he sold the TV station and one of his vehicles to Pastor Ezekiel of New Life, and even some of his evangelization tools. Note that Pastor Mackenzie is not living with his family in Shakahola. The family lives in Migingo village in a gated compound where he had his church, and he has been putting up another beautiful family home few distance from Malindi town. This comes to the end of Pastor Mackenzie's background information, and to anything that is going on is that Pastor Mackenzie is believed to be controlling an unknown cult. Fellow Kenyans, just take care wherever you are. Don't join churches unknowingly and claim to be worshipping Jesus that you don't know. Worship the real Jesus. Worship the only God.
Anakipigana nacho mkizuri na kitawaramba nakwambia, kitawaramba